of us contemplating voting for Trump or not voting at all will snap out of whatever fog we are in. I am praying that we consider the decades of sacrifice and struggle by all of our ancestors, the folks who marched and sacrificed and shed their blood for us. We have to ask ourselves, is a vote for Trump or no vote at all?
This channel not only feed your eyes with good movies, we also bring you the hottest and the newest trend around the globe. My darlings, sit tight and enjoy this one.
Welcome back from one war to another, this time in Europe. Ukrainian drones have targeted an ethanol plant in Russia's Voronezh region. This happened on Sunday. The attack sparked a fire at an unspecified industrial facility and injured one person, according to the region's governor. Governor Alexander Guzvor of the Voronezh region in southern Russia said on his Telegram messaging channel that emergency services were dispatched to the fire. Kyiv has often said its drone attacks inside Russia target infrastructure key to Russia's war efforts and are in response to Moscow's continued strike on Ukraine's territory. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte says he could confirm that North Korean troops have been sent to Russia and the North Korean military units have been deployed to the Kursk region.
Today, I can confirm that North Korean troops have been sent to Russia and that North Korean military units have been deployed to the Kursk region. The deployment of North Korean troops represents, one, a significant escalation in the DPRK's ongoing involvement in Russia's illegal war. Two, yet another breach of UN Security Council resolutions. And three, a dangerous expansion of Russia's war. NATO calls on Russia and the DPRK to cease these actions immediately. The deepening military cooperation between Russia and North Korea is a threat to both the Indo-Pacific and Euro-Atlantic security. It undermines peace on the Korean Peninsula and fuels the Russian war against Ukraine. But the deployment of North Korean troops to Kursk is also a sign of Putin's growing desperation. Over 600,000 Russian soldiers have been killed or wounded in Putin's war, and he is unable to sustain his assault on Ukraine without foreign support.
Thousands of Republican supporters gathered at the Madison Square Garden in New York to attend a campaign rally of former U.S. President Donald Trump. Trump, who says he was thrilled to be back in the city, urged residents to vote in order to make America great again. A typical Trump also took a blow at Vice President Kamala Harris and President Joe Biden, saying that they've done a terrible job. He promised to stop inflation, vowed to crack down on illegal migrants coming to the U.S. Tech billionaire Elon Musk also graced the rally. He told residents to come out in numbers to cast an early vote.
And I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote in this election, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals coming into our country. And I will bring back the American dream. We need the American dream to come back home. Next Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala Harris that you've done a terrible job, that crooked Joe Biden has done a terrible job. You've destroyed our country. We're not going to take it anymore. Kamala, you're fired. Get out. Get out. You're fired.
I'm not just MAGA. I'm dark, gothic MAGA. Well, the energy in this room is incredible. You're being taxed. You're being taxed. All government spending is taxation. So whether it's direct taxation or all government spending, it either becomes inflation or it's direct taxation. Your money is being wasted, and the Department of Government Efficiency is going to fix that. But there's a lot of people out there who need to vote for President Trump. Okay, so this is a real battle. This is a real election battle. So you need to get friends and family to vote. Make sure they vote. Vote early. This is important. We're going to be putting up a scorecard, okay? An early vote scorecard, state by state, county by county. What is the scorecard? Vote early. Vote now.
And Vice President Kamala Harris was in Philadelphia campaigning for votes. She energized thousands of Generation Z, or Gen Z preferably, and first-time voters, urging them to come out and make their voices heard. She said she loved young leaders for being rightly impatient for change.
And we know this is going to be a tight race until the very end. From now until Election Day, we are going to get out the vote here in Pennsylvania. You who right now know fewer rights than your mothers and grandmothers understand the importance of fighting for the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. And this is why I love you, the young leaders who are here, because for you, this is not theoretical. This is not political. This is not about some debate. It is about your lived experience. And you are here, and I see you because I see your power. And you are here because you know your power. And I am so proud of you. And everyone, let us applaud our young leaders, our first-time voters. Let's applaud them. Let's applaud them. We can and we must seize this opportunity to end this war and bring the hostages home. And I will do everything in my power to meet that end. And we are here because we are fighting for a democracy. The voices of all people. And we've got a job to do in the next 9 days to fight for this democracy we love. Bless you. God bless the United States of America.
We also saw a really rare face in this election. Former First Lady Michelle Obama electrified thousands in Michigan in a rally in support of Vice President Kamala Harris. Mrs. Obama warned that a vote for former President Trump means a vote against women's health. She also warned that if Trump becomes president again, many will feel the impact of their actions.
So I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn. I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon, a known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse, all of this, while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all. I am praying that those of us contemplating voting for Trump or not voting at all will snap out of whatever fog we are in. I am praying that we consider the decades of sacrifice and struggle by all of our ancestors, the folks who marched and sacrificed and shed their blood for us. We have to ask ourselves, is a vote for Trump or no vote at all the way we honor their lives? And if that's the case, well, that surely doesn't sound like freedom to me. Before you cast your votes, ask yourselves, what side of history do you want to be on? And we are more than just baby-making vessels. And if you are a woman who lives in a household of men that don't listen to you or value your opinion, just remember that your vote is a private matter. Regardless of the political views of your partner, you get to choose. You get to use your judgment and cast your vote for yourself and the women in your life. Remember, women, standing up for what is best for us can make the difference in this election.
With the U.S. election just days away now, reproductive rights for women is one of the key issues Americans are concerned about in this election cycle. Over the last few days, Vice President Kamala Harris has expressed her support for women and families' rights of reproductive freedoms during rallies across the U.S. Our Washington correspondent Maria Bird spoke with White House Director of Gender Policy regarding recent Biden-Harris administration policies that support women's reproductive freedom.
Jennifer Klein, thank you so much for joining us as the director of the White House Gender Policy Council. We really do appreciate you taking the time. As we know, there have been lots of announcements recently, and specifically announcements most recently around gender policies. Can you tell us what the president has most recently announced and how this will have an impact on not just women, but families in the United States?
Thank you so much for having me. And yes, President Biden and Vice President Harris have believed that contraception is an essential part of reproductive health care, an essential part of health care, and that women should have access to the contraception that they need. And you're exactly right, which is this is not just about women. This is about families. It's about men and women who should be allowed to make their own decisions about whether and when to start a family and be able to access whatever health care they need, including contraception. So we've already made significant progress. The president issued an executive order in 2023, specifically on contraception, which he signed just 1 year after the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe versus Wade. And today's rule builds on those actions that we have already taken. And it would be when this rule is finalized, it will be the most significant expansion of contraceptive coverage in over a decade. And once it's finalized, it will allow 52 million women of reproductive age to access contraception coverage.
You're watching Nolly Magic TV. My joy is to keep you updated with the latest gist. And your joy should be subscribing to this channel and giving this video a thumbs up, please.
I can tell you a little bit about what this rule does. It really does two important things. The first is that it will enable women for the first time ever to obtain over-the-counter contraception. at no cost without a prescription. And that's particularly important. I mean, it's been important for a long time. It's particularly important now because as of March of this year, there's now an oral contraceptive available over the counter. So now people can access that at no cost and without a prescription. And the second thing the rule does is require health insurers to cover even more prescription contraceptive coverage at no additional cost. So currently, while it is a requirement under the Affordable Care Act that insurers cover contraception free, there have been barriers. We've seen that through studies, complaints, analysis that insurers have done themselves. And so what this rule does is change that. So that, whatever the product or medication you need, there's an easier way to access it at no cost, if that's what you need and what your doctor prescribes for you.
And we know that we have recently, unfortunately, heard of women that have had unfortunate situations as a result of unwanted pregnancies as a result of potentially very challenging circumstances. How could this potentially be a life-saving measure for women or for those who potentially could find themselves in similar circumstances?
Yes, I mean, sadly, since Roe versus Wade was overturned and, more than 20 states now have extreme abortion bans in place, we see the impact of that already on maternal health, on women's lives, women's health. And so having access to contraception to prevent an unwanted pregnancy is incredibly important. We also seeing a very real practical effect, which is that clinics are closing across this country. So it's harder for people to access contraception and the full range of health services where they used to be able to do that. So this has been sadly become even more important since Roe versus Wade was overturned.
Well, we know that there's much more that the administration plans to do as it relates to the Affordable Care Act and how we plan to be able to utilize this in the future. Is there any last bits that our audience should know as it relates to how this will have a larger impact and something that might be coming up in the near future?
Yeah, we're just going to continue to do what we can through executive action in this administration to ensure access to reproductive health services. And, I think it bears noting at the end that, since Roe versus Wade has been overturned and since Republican elected officials at both the state level and the national level have tried to pass a national abortion ban, have tried to even, have refused to vote for contraception. There was a vote in the Congress, and only 2 Republican senators voted for the Right to Contraception Act. So, this is a real, and we've also seen, IVF under threat. So this remains a real concern. But I will leave you with this thought, which is there are things that we can do, and this administration will continue to do to protect access to reproductive health care.
Well, we thank you so much for sharing what the White House is planning to do.
Thank you so much.
Our correspondent Maria Bird and Jennifer Klein. We turn our attention now to South America, where residents are preparing for a second round of votes in Uruguay. The presidential hopeful Alvaro Delgado already feels confident as he aims for victory against the center-left frontrunner, Yamandu Orsi. In his words, "I have a lot of faith in everyone in the team that we're going to represent more people than just those voting for the coalition. We're going to represent many people who do not believe in politics. I feel prepared and I feel ready to govern." According to Sunday's official count, out of 60% of votes tallied, the center-left candidate secured 41.5%. Mr. Delgado secured 28.69%, while the young social media-savvy conservative secured 16.8%. The second round will be held on November 24 if no presidential candidate secures more than 50% of the votes. When we return after the break on The World Today, get in touch with your inner child by playing a giant game of Tetris. Join us again.
How does double digits affect your purchasing power? What about ballooning debt profile and scarce FX? How's that affecting your business?
The federal government is turning to the money market to fund its deficits. Are yields contracting or expanding? Is this a good buy for you?
Inflation drives MPC decisions and affects sentiment at the equities market. What is happening to your investment?
Or would you rather go digital? We track all the volatility in the crypto market.
Get the answers from the business team every weekday at 1 p.m. on Business Incorporated, only on Channels Television.
The United States and the European Union are calling for a full investigation into Georgia's elections following reports of violations in voting. It comes as monitors from the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, the OSCE, said Sunday's elections registered incidents of vote buying, voter intimidation, and ballot stuffing that could affect the outcome of the polls. Georgia's president also urged people to take to the streets to protest against the results of the ballot, which the Electoral Commission said the ruling party had won. According to the Electoral Commission, the ruling Georgian Dream Party clinched nearly 54% of the vote, a result the president referred to as a Russian special operation. Meanwhile, the Kremlin says attempts are being made by outside parties to destabilize elections in Georgia. Spokesperson Dmitry Peskyov's comments come after the West called for a probe into the parliamentary polls. He said it is important that no third countries interfere with the results of Georgia's election. He also denied any Russian interference in the elections, indicating a huge number of forces from European countries try to influence the outcome of the polls without giving further details. A senior UN official in Sudan says she's deeply troubled by reports of atrocious crimes in the central Gezira state, including the mass killing of civilians by the Parliamentary Rapid Support Forces. Clementine Nkwata Salami's comments come after an activist group said at least 124 people were killed by the RSF in attacks on villages over the past week. The RSF has denied targeting civilians, saying its fighters are clashing with militia armed by the military. Gezira state turned into a major battleground last week after the RSF suffered a major blow when one of its commanders defected to the army. The army said he had brought a large number of his forces with him in what it described as the first high-profile defection to its side. Well, health concerns are rising just as India's air quality drops. Most of the nation's megacities were shrouded in a thick blanket of smog today. The national air quality marked the air quality as very poor in many parts of New Delhi. Some local residents said they were suffering from breathing issues and chest congestion amid the worsening pollution levels. Neighboring Pakistan is also going through the same thing. In the province of Punjab, school hours were revised and outdoor students' activities were cancelled. Lahore, the provincial capital, topped the global pollution charts today, earning the dire distinction of the world's most polluted city when the air quality index hit 507 around 10 in the morning local time. Well, back in Africa, a community library in Egypt's Delta city of Sharqiya is offering children access to cultural activities that are otherwise not available in the remote village. Located in Kafir Abu Nafi, the facility caters to educational needs of children in communities on several subjects.
In a Delta village in Egypt's Sharqiya, dozens of children enjoy reading books and learning about science and technology thanks to a community library established by a children's books author and her uncle. Reem Nafi and her uncle, Hamdi Nafi, take care of the library in Kafr Abu Nafi village, which is part of Al Saf charity organization, chaired by Hamdi Nafi.
We noticed that there's a big gap between the book and the reader. Everyone depends on the internet and new things like social media websites, which I don't want to say always, but most of the time have no credible sources of circulated information. And there is a lot of wrong information. But the book's author and its publisher are known. The book is an honest friend for culture seekers.
For Reem Nafi, she wanted to create a space for children to better spend their time amid lack of cultural services in the remote village, far away from Cairo, where most of these activities are offered.
When I look at the children in the village around me, I find them wasting their time. The child finishes homework if he has some, does everything that can be done, and the rest of the day is empty. There is nothing to be done, no place to go, nowhere that can gather the children of the community to do something useful. So when I look at them, I either find them fighting or doing bad things, breaking stuff, throwing stones or beating the dogs. There is no avenue for them to find a space to develop themselves or dream for a better future.
She adds that the library is not only for children, but for everyone.
The library does not only welcome children, but it also welcomes youth, women, and even men. The library is capable to receive those who are ready to volunteer to teach the people in Egypt's countryside something that is unavailable to them and that they can reach because of how far and centralized in the capital these things are.
Launched a year ago, the community library opens 6 days a week, but every group of children are given slots twice a week to attend due to the limited space and large number of children. Reem says she dreams of establishing similar libraries in thousands of Egyptian villages and has started developing a similar project in the Delta city of Mansoura.
And this was probably the highlight to many people's day today in London, which hosted a giant interactive multiplayer Tetris game to celebrate its 40th anniversary. The event, which took place at central London's large LED screen entertainment venue, Outernet, was one of the biggest multiplayer Tetris games to ever take place, according to the organizers. The games were open to the public for free, and participants scanned a QR code and downloaded an app to take part. 7 players at once controlled their individually colored pieces as they fell from the screens to compete with other players in the space. Tetris was invented in 1984 by Russian software engineer Alexei Pachitnov, and according to the Tetris brand, billions of games are played each year online.
Good job. The ring's up the way. Here we go.
So we worked really closely with the official Tetris team to launch this interactive version in partnership for their 40th anniversary of Tetris. And we're pretty confident that nowhere else in the world, it's a really world first, has you ever been able to sort of play Tetris on a grand scale like this. So the Outernet screens are a four-story, 26K interactive screen canvas with spatialized audio that really encourages audiences to come in and have an experience worth sharing and interact with our screens in Tetris like never before. So using an application which you can access by QR codes, and you can kind of come and scan them in the space, it launches a web-based app on your phone which you can then control and move the pieces in real time directly on the screen. So you can play by yourself, you can play with your friends and family, strangers in the space as well. And just like with any Tetris game, the object is to try and build your lines, move your tetraminos down, and essentially clear lines with it on the screens.
Really good. It's fun, wasn't it? Yeah, really fun. The graphics are unbelievable here, so it makes it really easy to play, and sort of quite exciting to watch as well.
It's just fun doing it.
It was good. It took a little while to get in, but yeah, it was good fun. We enjoyed it, didn't we?
Yeah, it was really exciting. I've never played Tetris before. I think that's cool, but it's also a bit strange because I hadn't even heard of it for 7 years until now.
Well, as I was playing it at her age, so yeah.
And that's the world today. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani.
Thank you for having stayed to the end of this video. You made me really happy. One more thing, click on the notification bell so anytime I do video, you will be the first to be notified. See you on the next one.